So hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. I have a guest speaker today. His name is Jeremy, and Jeremy is with Red Star Inspections. And so he's kind of going to go over the inspection process and why you need to have, well, how you can use him as one of your resources when you refer inspectors out. Of course, you know you have to give people at least three options. So
Mhm.
Jeremy is one of my three. So if they choose to use them, that's fine. If they don't, at least I've given him some because I know his inspections are good and his reports are awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and let Jeremy take over.
Well, hello everyone. You guys ready for a long, boring class?
Yes.
Yeah, because home inspection is boring to me too. so, so what I like to do is just I was going to pull up one of our inspection reports and just kind of go over that. And what we could do is just go by line. And if you have any questions, please just jump in and ask. So I'm just going to do like a brief overview of it. And, if there's some concerns, like we're talking about foundation, you can say, hey, what does this mean, with foundation issues or what have you. So we can just have it fluid like that. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to pull up this so y'all can see. All right, let's see. Okay, does everybody see the inspection report?
123 Main Street.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so don't be scared on this one. This is just a random sample report I pulled up. This has a lot on it, so it doesn't mean all inspections are like this. So sometimes when a buyer sees this, everybody freaks out. But I'm just giving you the worst case scenario right now, so to make it easier to go over it. So what's different about us is you get the report in three formats. This format we have is what we love about Spectora is it breaks it down. It goes straight to a summary, so you can tell exactly what's going on. The biggest problem I had with inspection reports when I got into the business was because there were 50, 60 pages, and the buyer and the realtor would be very confused of what's wrong and what's not wrong, because there was a lot of fluff that is put into reports. So that's what I love about this so much, because everything's color coded and goes straight to the point. Just like the foundation here, it'll tell you exactly what's wrong, and you go through here and it's no question. It makes it simple. So with Trek, though, we're required by law with them that we have to follow their report system. So we have that as well. So if you go, I can't even pull it up on this, but when you hit PDF here, it will auto-populate a standard Trek report that most of you guys will see with other home inspectors. So with us, you're getting actually three reports. You're getting this breakdown summary, and makes it easier where you can go exactly to, hey, I want to go to plumbing, and immediately go to plumbing. And that's what makes it so great, because in the old school reports, you have to just fumble through pages and pages, just trying to find it. So then with us, we're the first in the world to do this, and I'm not sure of anybody else doing it, but there might be. But we also do a VR report. So this is what makes it so unusual. So what we do is when you get this package, we scan your house just like you would for your listing. It's the same technology, like with Matterport is what we use. And then all these dots, and normally a home doesn't have this many dots. This just had a lot of issues. And so
I don't see anything.
Huh? Do you see that? Can y'all? Oh, you don't see that part of it?
We see white space.
Oh, okay. I can't do that on there. Okay, let me, I don't even know. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, y'all can't even see the VR part. Okay. Let me do this one more time here. Well, that's no fun. That was the best part. All right. Okay, so foundation. So what we're looking at on foundation, let me go to information. So every good inspector out there will have a zip level. I would say about half the inspectors out there use zip level, and what that is, it's a device that we put in the center of the structure, or it depends on how the structure is designed. So like if you see this map that we drew, there's a 0 point. So he puts that machine at that point and he measures at all corners of the structure. And why this is so important for a home inspector to have a zip level, there's no question that the foundation is fine. When I first started 15 years ago, you had to guess, and you just had to be a foundation whisperer to know exactly how, where it's moved and hadn't moved. And now it makes it easier for all of us. And then if there is a question in the past, you're like, I'm not sure if there's an issue with this foundation or not, you're going to need a structural engineer. Well, then you have a structural engineer come out and charge you $700,000 and tell you that everything's fine. So this is a huge savings for your client to not even waste their time with that. So we just get straight to the point, and you know what's wrong. If there's a problem or there's not. So that's the biggest thing on that. Y'all, anybody have questions on that part of it? Anyone? All right. So going back to foundation, another thing besides looking for those measurements, we're looking for any type of differential movement. So there's signs that we see, let's say cracking in the tiles, to doors hitting the frames, windows, when you open and close it, it's difficult, cracks to the bricks on the outside. So there's a lot of signs that we see. And what's good to educate you guys on that, if you go into a home and you're showing it and you have that vision and kind of could tell, and you like, hey, open up a couple doors here and there and see if they hit the frames, maybe open a window, or you're seeing big drywall cracks. And so if you already see something like that, then you could know, like, I don't know about this place. You can steer your client and, hey, let's look at other places, other homes. So that's a really good knowledge to have on that. Grading and drainage, that's extremely important for your foundation. That will affect it. If you have pooling of water, let's say at the front of the house all the time, guess where the foundation is going to go? It's going to start sinking towards that direction. Or let's say you have trees that are too close to the structure and they need water, and they end up going underneath your structure because they need water and they cause damage. So there's many different variables on that. As far as the roof, let's see here. I'm just going to keep going into things here. Go. 1 second. Let's see if I can.
Let me ask you a question about the foundation. So a golf ball going through the house, if it rolls in one direction, that's kind of one way you can tell too.
Oh yeah, that's not good. Yeah, that'd be a problem.
That's okay, that's my husband's way of telling. Puts the golf ball in and see if it rolls.
Do you guys see this? Actually, I don't know if this is acting up. Do you see that part of it?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, I don't know. Let me see if I can. Looks like I can't even, it's not letting me show this for some reason. What to do is get out. Apologize, guys. I have technical difficulties.
Hey, it happens in this virtual world we're in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, trying to. So this is, I skipped over this, but within this report, this is like this big red button. When you click on that, that takes you to our VR. And so since y'all didn't see that, what it is, I was telling you about the Matterport, and wherever there's an issue within that VR report, there's going to be a dot. And on that dot, you click on it, and there's either a video of the inspector describing what's wrong, or there's verbiage. And to get an understanding, if you just go to our website, it's redstarhomeinspection.com. And I have a sample on there and a videos explaining it. So it's probably the easiest on that than me trying to explain it without you guys able to see it, because I wanted to show you, but it's not working out that way. Roof coverings. So what we do is we always try to walk the roof as much as possible, because that's the most important thing, is you got to actually get on that roof and feel the shingles and look at everything. But if we can't get up on the roof, we use drones. So we're not going to let it go without at least looking at it. And why that's so important, to give you an example, one of our inspectors had a 3-story home they were inspecting in the Heights, and there's no access to it because they're so high. He couldn't see it. It was raining, so he couldn't use the drone. And he goes, I just don't feel right about this. So the next day, came back, and the weather cleared up, and he used a drone. And when he got the drone up there, he realized half the shingles were missing. So if we would have never known that, they bought the home, nobody would have ever known until they started getting some serious roof leaks, after they move in. So that's why you got to do what you can do, when you're inspecting. Roof structures and attics. With that, we're crawling within the attic space. We're looking at insulation, we're looking at your duct work, we're looking at your rafters. Are there, is there any type of movement on it? With the foundation, when there's foundation issues, the rafters itself at the peak of the ridge boards will start pulling off, twisting and cracking. So that's a huge sign what we're looking for. And what's amazing too is we've been in business a long time, and we get these flippers that they really do a good job at, let's say there is a foundation problem, they really do a great job of, redoing the whole house, hiding, getting rid of all the cracks, so you can't really tell. But the first thing we can tell right off the bat that there's a foundation issue is we'll go in the attic space and see those rafters twisting and crack. So those are the only ones they forget to fix. And so we always can tell, if there's something wrong or not. Walls, interior and exterior, that's pretty simple. I mean, we're just looking for any, sealing up the structure to, was it installed properly? Is there any moisture penetration? Are there cracks because of foundation issues? So it's all those. The main thing on that is we're really looking for, structural issues with that. And if there isn't, there may be a whole bunch of stuff on that, but it's usually just minor, like painting or sealing, things like that. Ceilings and floors, that's the same thing. So we're looking at cracked tiles, things like that. Any issues with that? Doors, those are minor issues, and of course we need to report that. So like things like that aren't going to be major. Just the same thing with windows. Usually when we have foundation issues, the windows are difficult to open and close. Stairways, the same, the same issues on that. And then fireplace and chimneys, that's really important. So we get in there and make sure there's no gas leaks, any issues as far as that. Now I'm just going to scroll down here and see if anything else pops out. To give an example, it's like, here's an example of, he just wrote this up about the just needs to be sealed. So like, you may get overwhelmed with an inspection report, but what a great inspector does is he's going to tell you, hey, this is what's important. Like this had 61 items. He can say, hey, really, these 10 are what matter. But these others, yeah, they're easy and cheap fixes. So, just don't get bogged down when you see a whole bunch of stuff like this. It doesn't mean it's, the house is falling down. They're just recommending, trying to make the house perfect.
Have you ever found a perfect home?
Never. I think, actually, you know what? So new construction, I take that back. I think new construction, we still find a lot of stuff regardless. But the one time in my career I had where I didn't have anything on a new construction. But that was only one time I've heard of we've done like 15,000 inspections. So the odds aren't good on that. All right, let's see here on anything else. We'll move to the next section. We'll go to electrical. Electrical, we're doing standard thing. Like here you can see, the damage here to this outlet. But the main thing what we're doing is all we do is we have a little tester, and we're going around testing all your outlets, making sure they're working properly, if they're hot, neutral, or reverse. And then GFCI protection is very important. So that's required to be in your bathrooms and kitchen and exterior. The reason why that came about, just an example, like in the bathroom, this is kind of morbid, but if you had a toaster and you plugged it in, before they didn't have GFCI, they can drop that in the toilet or tub and it would electrocute you. So that's why that came about. So if somebody did that, it would trip that outlet immediately, and then you wouldn't get electrocuted. And that's pretty much basic on that. The electrical panel, we definitely open up and see, and we usually see issues with that. But there's a whole lot of list on that. Yeah, I don't want to bore you down on that part of it. Heating and AC, that's a major component too. So it'd be your foundation is extremely important, your roof is extremely important, and your AC and heating. And so what we do on the heating AC system is we test it to see if it's efficient. And how we do that is we run it for about an hour when we're there, and then we get a temperature reading of the return air and all the vents, and it has to be within a certain temperature range. And if it falls under that, it's great. We do have times. The one thing I would say to be leery of is we could have a 15-year-old AC unit, and when we're there, it's working great. But when it starts to get that old, we do say, hey, it's getting near the end of its life. So usually after 10 years in an AC unit, you have to realize that you're getting close to the end. So that's probably the biggest thing. So if you clients buying a home and it's the AC unit's 5 years old, and we test and everything's great, you're not going to likely have an issue. But if it's 15 years old, then you might advise your clients, yeah, that's a possibility that's going to be going out soon, even if it's working properly. And we even get tricked sometimes where the AC wasn't working, but the day before they filled it up and got it serviced, and we had no idea. So there's things that we have to look out to prevent that. Plumbing system, that's very simple. I mean, what we're doing is we're running everything throughout the structure. We tax the house, so we're running, the sinks and tubs and all that at the same time. And usually when we do that, if there's going to be an issue, it'll pop up then. But there's quite a bit of stuff on plumbing, but like I said, I don't want to bore you down on that. Appliances, that's very easy for us. So all we're doing is running the dishwasher and the garbage disposal. We're just making sure everything works. And you can see the whole list: the range hood, the cooktops, ovens, and microwaves, exhaust vents, and garage doors, and dryer exhausts. We do all that. The only thing that we don't inspect are going to be refrigerators and washer and dryers. And we usually have to tell our clients that, because most of the time they think that we should be able to do that, but there's no way for us on our end to do that. Unless we want to bring our clothes, laundry, and wash clothes, we could do that. So that's the basic of it. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to break down different things on you, or if you saw inspection reports that you're confused about, or if there's something that you think wasn't important but they think it was important. So I'll leave it up to you guys if y'all have anything.
I have a question. When, like for a new build, when do you advise an inspector to get involved? Because normally they're going to say, you don't need an inspector. We get it inspected along the way. But I do know that with new homes, they still have issues, and an inspector should be involved throughout the process. When would you get them involved?
So we do 3-phase inspections. So the best, so the first inspection, the phase 1, is when it's right before they pour the concrete. So the day before, we'll go there, and we've been doing so many of those, I can't even tell you how many. But we're looking at how the structure was set up. We're looking at the rebars, where the post-tension cables. We're making sure everything's done properly, the barrier sealed properly. So that would be the first phase, and we always find a lot of issues with that as well. And so then they pour the concrete, and then the next phase would be when they have all the wood members up throughout the structure, but they haven't done the drywall yet. So it's before the drywall and insulation. Okay. And so that's really important too, because we always have a huge list of problems. So the thing is, when a builder gets to that point, they could make a lot of mistakes and nobody has a clue, because as soon as they put that drywall up, it's hidden. So there's no way in the final inspection to where an inspector could even tell if there was an issue or not. So we constantly get structural issues of them not doing it right, and that could affect your performance of the home later down in life, down the life of the house. And it may be structurally they did some things wrong and it looks like it's foundation issues, but it's not. It could be they structurally didn't build it right. So that's why that's so important. And then that's a whole whole other issue there, because if they didn't, do that right, then you have to really tear down walls and figure out what's going on and what caused that. So that's why that's very important. And then the third phase is, everything else, just like a standard home inspection report. And so that when we do that, it has to be move-in ready on that.
So I know someone who bought a new home, and she was the first one in her community to move in there. And she had mice and rats in the attic of a new build. So they probably got in, I guess it could have got in after the drywall, before the drywall went up, or before the house was closed up. Do you find that pretty common?
Yeah, I mean, a new construction, yeah, I could see that. It made me think of, when you just brought that up, is when they have those model homes, like the first model home bring up and they run the office out of there. I would say advice to you guys, usually those homes are in bad shape, because they throw those homes up just because they're just trying to get the office open, get sales and get started. And those, when we inspect those, like usually when the community ends and you have that house, we usually find a lot of issues with that, because they just don't care. They're just throwing that house together and, all right, come on, let's go. Let's start selling homes.
I had coyotes in my neighborhood.
Oh, you got coyotes?
I had them when I had my house built. Yes.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Yeah.
But, let's say like even pests like termites, normally you don't need to get a termite inspected on new construction because they're supposed to treat the soil, and we usually don't. But every once in a while when we're inspecting, we do come across it. So, things like that, like rats or termites, whatever, or coyotes living in the house, or raccoons, so all the above, so yeah.
Okay. So Rick, our broker, advises realtors not to attend the inspections, because he wants us to stay in our lane. Like, we're not inspectors, we can't give advice. So what's your take on that? I agree. But
Well, we have no problem with, I mean, I would say, to be honest, half of the realtors come to it. So, I mean, the ones that, like you said, stay in their lane know that. So they're more of like, I don't think it's too bad of a thing, because every once in a while, a client will say, we said something that we didn't. And if you're there, then that wasn't true, so they might want to be backing out of the house and they said, oh, Inspector so-and-so told me this, da, 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 and that's why I don't want this house. And we didn't say anything. And you'd be surprised how much that happens. And we're like, no, we didn't. We're just giving you the facts on the report. That's it. So that's the only thing I would say. If you went to it, you don't have to say anything. You just can listen to it and be supportive for your client. And then you have a good understanding if there's anything wrong, with the house, instead of just going straight to an inspection report. Because the way the inspector might be portraying the house, like, hey, yes, there's 61 items, but these are all minor, the way he presents it, and you might be there for that. And like, okay, this isn't bad. But if you're not there and then you see the report and you're like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Is the house falling down? So there's both ways of looking at it. The only thing that's hard for us is if we do get clients that want to follow us around, and that's fine. But the problem is they start nonstop interrupt. Hey, what about this? What about this? And then our inspector loses track because he's so busy trying to talk with the client that he starts missing things. So that to us is huge, to where, hey, if you're going to be there and you have to follow us, fine, but just keep your questions until we're completely done. So the inspector doesn't miss anything.
Yeah, I tell my clients to go maybe the last half an hour or last hour of the inspection, just to be there so they
Right.
can, point out certain things to you that they found That way you have a visual and you can ask questions, but you don't have to be there the whole 2 hours.
Right. Right. And most clients are like that, that's normal. But like I said, there's people that, they're wanting to get on the roof. They're wanting to, do everything. So.
Mhm. Wow, I don't think they want to get on the roof.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. And we have to say, no, we can't allow you up here, so it's but those are a small percentage of our clients that'll do that.
Okay. Well, I don't have any more questions. Susan, do you have any?
No, I don't have any questions. He's been wonderful.
Oh, well, thank you.
Amazing.
And I'm always available. And, like if, let's say you see an inspection or, you use even another inspection company and you're just not sure about something. Yeah, I'm available. You can call me and say, hey, I'm not sure about this. What does this mean? Is this important?
I will. I promise I will.
And how many times will you go out? Let's say you go out the first time and the battery wasn't working on the thermostat and they go back and replace the battery. Do you go back in and check the AC and the heater, or is there another trip charge?
Well, we tried it. So our guys carry batteries, for example, on that because we don't want to come back. So usually we'll replace the batteries and try to make it work. There are times where, if it's colder than 60 degrees out, we can't inspect the AC. And so it depends on the client. Like if the client no, I really want this inspected. Like we did several, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago that was really cold. We couldn't do it. And then we just came back on another day when we knew it was going to be above 60 and test it. But a lot of times it may not be just that, to where there was a lot of issues and they agree with the seller, like, hey, you're going to make all these repairs. And then we come back for a re-inspection and then we're going to test the AC. We'll just make sure it's, warmer out when we schedule the re-inspection so we can just do it all together.
Okay, good to know. Wale, you have any questions?
No, I guess with the new builds, it's not mandatory for them to get the inspection before they, like you were saying, it's impossible to tell if it needs any work if they pour the concrete first or whatever.
Right.
So it's not mandatory for them to get the inspection.
No, it's not at all. But it's very advisable. We might do one inspection of new construction. We only find 3 or 4 things, or we'll do one that we find 100 things. You just never know. An example, you might, let's say a builder has a great reputation, but I've inspected homes where we had 2 right next to each other. One was, great shape, hardly anything. And the other thing was pretty much almost falling down. So it's one extreme to the other with the same builder. And what causes that is you might have contractors that they normally use, like on that one home that was doing it, and they were running out of time and they were using other contractors for that part of the home. And maybe he was on vacation for a couple of weeks and wasn't really watching them. And, there's so many different variables that can happen. So that's why it's really important for new construction to get inspected. Because think about this, is if, let's say the inspector found $5,000 with issues and you got it fixed. And then when you go to resell your home, you don't have to deal with it. But time and time again, we see people that don't get their home inspected. They put it up for sale, let's say 5 years down the road. Then all of a sudden, like, oh my goodness, I have all these costs that I could have had repaired, and now it's on you now, right, instead of taking care of it from the very beginning.
Right. Okay.
Good advice. Thank you.
Yep. No problem.
And what's your phone number, Jeremy?
I'll give you 2. My personal is 832-270-5307. And as far as scheduling, it's 832-643-9724. And also you can schedule online with us as well. And I did bring up a lot of stuff. So we have added a whole bunch of stuff with our company now. One of them are warranties. So now we're offering 5 warranties with every inspection. So The reason why we're doing that is because, like, to give you an example, when we inspect a house and the water heater is working at the time of inspection, and let's say they move in and 2 months later it goes out. Well, guess who? They're mad at us, but there's nothing we could do. We ran it, everything was tested, and it worked fine. So what our 90-day warranty does is if anything breaks, it's covered. So within 90 days you move in, I mean, everything is covered within that house. Also, we pay for a warranty on every inspection is the roof. So you get a 5-year roof warranty. So they're not going to replace the roof, but if there's any leaks whatsoever that happen within those 5 years, you're covered. All you have to do is go on our website, file a claim, and they'll come out and fix that leak. So let's say you have a bad storm that came in and, you know, tore off 4 or 5 shingles, you know, 3 years down the road. At least it's comforting to know, like, hey, I just call this, you know, the warranty company and it's going to be covered. Also, Sewer Guard is covered for 90 days. So that means if there's any type of leakage through your sewer system that didn't present itself while we were inspecting, it's covered. Mold safe, what that is, if any mold shows up within that 90 days after our inspection, it's covered. So this is a huge thing. This has gone over very well with our clients as far as offering that, because it protects them and it protects us, and then everybody's happy.
Okay, I only wrote down 4. I got the 90-day, the roof, the sewer, the mold, and what's the
Okay,
other?
give me 1 second here. And the termite. So if you get, so all our guys are termite certified.
Okay.
So if within 90 days, if any, let's say he missed a termite by accident, or they just showed up out of nowhere, and that, you know, that's possible, it's covered. So that means we come out and treat the house for free.
How long is that? 90 days?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you go to our website, you'll see all of them on there, all the 5 warranties, and all you have to do is click on them, and it goes into exactly what they cover.
RedStarHomeInspections.com.
Yep, that's it. And then you're going to see all the cool stuff that we're doing. So
Okay, I'll be sure and put this in the notes.
And another cool thing too, I didn't bring up about the VR, that what they've done now with the Matterport scans that we're doing our inspection reports with, you're able to draw in there now or take measurements. So you can go in there and, you know, the client they're loving it. They, you know, they don't have to go there and measure to see if their TV fits or their couch fits. They can go into that VR and measure things. Or let's say you want to redo your kitchen, you can go and measure that, send that VR report to that contractor. The contractor never has to show up to the house. He can look at it and say, hey, this is how much it's going to cost for me to do your cabinets or your granite countertops.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of opened up a whole new world.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That is really awesome.
We even have I was thinking, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, we've done big homes where they have, like, it's like an 8,000 square foot home. The recent one we did, they had an interior decorator that never came to the house. She designed the whole house within that VR report.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's changing things, and two, we're in the future. The technology is you can only get inside footage, but eventually I'm going to be able to do outside as well. And what's cool about that, we're going to change things too as far as you realtors doing listings. Once I get that capability going, Houston will be the only ones ever to be able to, you know, have that virtual tour go outside as well. So that's what I'm working on for you guys. And we do, like, you know, for listings, we charge nothing to do a 3D tour for your house. It's only $100. I don't make any money, but it's money from it, but it gives back to our realtors a benefit. So anything below 4,000 square foot, it's just $100 for us to do a VR scan for that house, and then you can, you know, list it on HAR.
Wow. So do you take pictures and all that?
We can. The Matterport has the capability of doing that. They work really great for, let's say, a house maybe a couple $100,000 and under. I mean, they're very good pictures, but I would say I wouldn't want to use that on $1 million home. So, I mean, we have packages to where it's $100 for the scan, and then it would be $95 for the photos. And so you'd get 35 photos and the VR scan.
Oh, okay. I might be calling you this afternoon later on.
Yeah. So and that part, it is perfect for that. Or, like say it's a flipper home or whatever, and it's $100,000, or, it's great for things like that, for that part of it. But as far as the VR, if you have like $1 million home, then yeah, you definitely want to just do the VR part of it and have it on there.
Don't have that $1 million home yet, but
oh, you're there. You're close.
I'm halfway there. Okay, well, we don't have any more questions.
Okay.
I want to thank you, and
All right, thanks for having me.
Get this out to everybody.
All right, perfect.
Okay, thank you.
All right, bye. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.